Welcome back to the Hurry Up Offense, fantasy football news and advice for week 6 of the 2022 NFL fantasy football season in about 10 minutes or so. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro. Let's go. Today is all about the myth of buy low, sell high, and why that doesn't quite work in today's fantasy football game. We'll get into that. But first, let's get into the news. Jameis Winston is back at Saints practice in a limited fashion. Saints QB Jameis Winston put in a limited practice Wednesday. That marks the first time he has been listed as limited since before the Week 4 game that he missed. Now, if you're hurting at quarterback, you're probably looking forward to Jameis Winston coming back. Yes, Jameis is not exceptional for real football, but Jameis can put up tons of points in fantasy football. We've seen it. He's actually been extremely sustainable for fantasy football teams in the past. He does throw interceptions, but luckily he throws enough bombs downfield to hit. It's kind of like the Babe Ruth thing. You might hit big, you might miss big. That's what Jameis does, but he always goes for it, and he puts up fantasy points. So we're hoping he gets back out there and we can start him if we're in a pinch. Logan Thomas is out for week 6. Now, the tight end landscape just keeps getting more and more thin. Maybe you can move into Tyler Conklin. I doubt that he's on your waivers, but you can look. Oh man, tight end is tough this year. It really is. There's only a few good assets. Literally a few. And the others are hit or miss from week to week. But Logan Thomas was one of those hit or miss guys. Let's hope he gets back soon. But also out of Washington, Jahan Dotson is going to be out for week 6 too. Now, I hope there's no way you're playing Carson Wentz at this point. He should be on the waiver wire. Not even on your bench. There's no point to save him. We'll keep trade cut. I would cut Carson Wentz. Especially, I would take any of those guys. Like, maybe I wouldn't be playing Cooper Rush or Bailey Zappi over him. But there's plenty other guys I would play over Carson Wentz. I couldn't keep him right now. And he's losing options to throw to. This is just not good. This team is going to keep getting worse. And there's going to be less and less fantasy points put up out there from this team. This is one of those completely avoid teams. Avoid Washington, guys. Let's try not to be alarmed here, but we all saw what happened to Saquon Barkley last week in the game with his shoulder being all jacked up in the game. But he came back and finished out the game and put up a ton of fantasy points for you because right now I believe he's somewhere in the top 3 of fantasy running backs. He's right up there with Chubb at this point. So you want him out there. And he did miss practice Wednesday. Or actually, he's limited. I'm sorry, I'll take that back. He's limited. I don't think there's any chance that, as of right now, unless there's a turn for the worse, I don't think that he's going to miss this game. I think he's going to be out there for you, and he should be almost completely healthy, in my opinion. I don't see any reason to fret right now. But on the other hand, Aaron Rodgers over in Green Bay absolutely missed practice on Wednesday. Aaron Rodgers did not practice on Wednesday due to a thumb injury. We don't have much concern as far as game day, Matt LaFleur said. So, if you have Aaron Rodgers, you drafted him somewhere in the middle of the quarterback pack, and you probably don't have much on the waiver wire, because if you were in a small league, you probably would have already dropped Aaron Rodgers earlier when he was having the bad games. Aaron Rodgers most likely will come through in the end. Aaron Rodgers almost never not comes through. There have been down seasons. Yes, there absolutely have. But Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers and probably one of the top quarterbacks to ever play the game. And the man has always put up tons of fantasy points with the exception of a couple of years outside of injury. So you have to count on Aaron Rodgers. He will come through. Let's hope this thumb injury is not very serious. He'll get back out there, I'm sure. Isaiah McKenzie clears concussion protocol. We've seen a lot of concussions in the past few weeks, right? Yeah, they are ripping them out of these games at the slightest hint of head injury. And I guess it's all for the better. Now it makes life difficult in the fantasy sense. Isaiah McKenzie is coming back. We saw what Gabe Davis did when he got back out on the field without Isaiah McKenzie. And only on 3 receptions, he had a bomb of a day. This is probably going to eat into Gabe Davis right here because Isaiah McKenzie is that third man up. And without him, most of those looks go to Gabe Davis if they're not going to Diggs. Yeah, Isaiah McKenzie is only a deep league play, so if you are in an extremely deep league, you're probably looking to play him. Other than that, it's not that big of news. I got to wrap this up pretty quickly here. Tua has resumed throwing down in Dolphins camp, so he is set to return to the field and throw on Wednesday, which has already happened by this point. According to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport, Tua remains in the concussion protocol and highly unlikely to play versus the Vikings, but he should be coming back next week, I would think, at the latest. So, I mean, load up Tua. When he gets back, you want him in your lineup. Let's hope this concussion hasn't taken anything out of him. But anyway, something really dumb. I find this extremely stupid coming out of Raiders camp. We saw what Devontae Adams did. Yes, he should not have done that. But he has now been charged with misdemeanor assault. And in my opinion, this is absolutely ridiculous. I think somebody just really wants some money out of this, knowing that the guy has made himself extremely wealthy through football. He found his chance to get into his pockets, if you know what I'm saying. That's what's going on here. I expect this to be settled outside of court. There is a court date set for November 10th. Which is the Thursday after week 9. So he probably won't be suspended. He'll be in your lineup then. He won't be playing this week, obviously, because the Raiders were on bye. But when he comes back, he will be in your lineup. And let's hope there's no more incidences like this. And let's hope people learn to not use unfortunate situations just to try to make money off of it. That would be nice, please. Cooper Rush is expected to start week 6. So we get one more week without Dak Prescott. Cooper Rush is not putting up a ton of fantasy points, but he is winning games for the Cowboys. So you got to be in an extremely deep league to need Cooper Rush. That's it for the news this week. Let's get into the game theory portion of the show. I want to talk about this myth of buy low, sell high. Now, I listen to a lot of fantasy analysts talk about this. Each week, they'll pick someone who unexpectedly exceeded for the week and say, we got to sell him high. We really do need to sell this guy high because now is it probably the most he's going to be worth. And then if there's a superstar, a proven commodity who happens to fail for a week, they tell you to go put out the word and see if you can get that guy cheap. You want to buy low. You want to sell high. It is a term that comes from the stocks, and we are trading players like stocks here in this theoretical game we play. It's a game of probability. It's a game of analytics. It's a game of trends and cycles. Now, here's the thing. This is 2022. This game has been going on for many, many years, and your league mates has access to the information just as well as you do. It's not as simple as that. The problem is, if you have a player you want to buy low on, a proven commodity that just had a bad week, and you go to your teammate, you throw out the offer, a low offer. Let's say you're trading a third string wide receiver for a superstar. You're putting it out there. Some reason, even if the person that you're trading with doesn't have access to the information, it still rings a bell in their head that this guy that I know in my league is a great fantasy football player and he follows all of the information. He wants this guy. So no, I'm not going to take a low offer for this guy because if he wants him, or she, could be a she, definitely, not a ton of girls in this game, but there are some. Now, if that person wants my proven commodity, there has to be a reason. And if that's not even the case, you have to assume everyone has access to all the information you do. There are a million podcasts out there, and everybody are consuming these podcasts. Don't believe me? Go look at the numbers for the Fantasy Footballers podcast. Those guys are constantly somewhere in the top 10 of podcasts in the world during certain times of the season. Everybody is listening to them. They all have that information. I hope you yourself listen to more than just that one, because everybody listens to that one, so they know the exact same information that you do. So you're definitely not pulling off any buy low, sell high there. Back in the day when people didn't have this information and they were playing fantasy football just by watching the games and trying to figure out who was good and who wasn't, it would work. It doesn't work now, so don't buy into these fantasy analysts telling you you have to buy low and sell high. No, you have to come up with reasonable deals. Maybe if you send out enough trade offers, you can pull off one or two of those and give you some kind of advantage out there, but don't give up on trading just because it doesn't work out when you try to buy low, sell high. No, come back at these people with more reasonable offers if you want to get a certain commodity to help your team get over the hump and win at fantasy football. That's it, guys. Man, I wanted to do some keep, trade, cut this week. I guess I'm going to get into it next week because I just ran out of time. Yeah, we'll talk about that next week. Guys, please subscribe to the Beyond Football channel. Give us a thumbs up on here. Leave your comments, for God's sake, down below. Ask me some questions. I'll respond to them. Hey, if you want to hear Alex and I break down every single game, every single week of the NFL season and predict our winners, that's the scoreboard. It's already come out for this week. It'll be right in the videos. Don't let anyone fool you. I suck at doing plugs, that's for sure. I am Smokey Rameriz, your fantasy football pro, and I'll see you next week. Deuces.